Hello everyone, welcome to the Watch Poplars. Today, I am at a campsite in Colorado. I have made it to Colorado, and I wanted to show you that this is the fluffiest campsite that we have stopped at. And why? Because there are cottonwood seeds everywhere. And it's very fluffy. This is very soft stuff. It's very soft. And if you look closely, you can see seeds. Yeah, but there's just poplar seeds everywhere. Just in some areas, it's heaping. It's everywhere. And these cottonwoods bear the full power of the river, so that whenever it floods here, they fall over sometimes, and you often get leaning trees. Now, they get really rough bark, and yeah. Now there's something on the leaves. I don't know what it is. It's not harming it. It could be an insect or a worm burrowing into the foliage. Such as, like that. For willows, the same thing happens. Like there are some insects and worms that like to burrow into the tissues of salicoids. And by that I mean members of the Salicaceae family, which is the willow family, where you get willows and poplars. And those are the only two genuses of that family. You got Salix and Populus. But as you see, I just walked up this tree. It was quite easy. It looks like people have walked up it before. It was pruned. It might have been dead on that end, but this branch has taken over. Almost all of these are seeding. And these are really old cottonwoods. You can see just like the scale of things. There's a picnic table for scale. There's a fire pit. And yeah, they're really beautiful trees. And of course, these poplars don't get very smooth bark at all. Only when they're young do they kind of even barely resemble aspens. But they are a member of... they're related. I mean, they're poplars. And aspens are poplars too. And all poplars have this. I guess it's, I don't know, where the leaves, they quiver in the wind because they have a flat leaf stem. So whenever you see a tree sparkling in the wind, it's probably a poplar. The windbreaker ones that go very upright and just straight up, those are also populous. Except those ones are from the Mediterranean part of Europe. And in some areas where it rains more often, they can become invasive in America. But here you also have elms. And then right next to our campsite, there is a mulberry tree. So here it is. And they do at least taste so good. It's one of the best things I've eaten. The best fruit. And here, I can get a close up of the morphology of the seed pods. With the remaining light that we have here. So that's what they look like before they open. And they start opening, I guess, at the base. The last ones to open are, like towards the end, or I don't know. Sometimes the tip one will open first. That one looks like it's already released seeds. But these buds are, or capsules are they're sticky. They are very sticky. I don't know why. It could be to prevent things from eating it before the seeds mature. But this stuff is like super soft. It's one of the softest things I've ever felt in my life. Yeah, it's very nice, and it's one of the reasons why I like poplars, because they all disperse this kind of seeds, and it drifts around just seamlessly. Just it's so lightweight. You could just see it on like no wind at all, just floating in the air everywhere. And when you're in a poplar forest like this, it's just everywhere. It fills the air. You just see occasionally like the little clump of fluff drifting by. and then on windy days, at this stage of seed, you get clouds of this stuff blowing off, and it's really nice. And I just got, maybe I had a strange insect on my hat, but there's a tree here that it doesn't start there, it doesn't start here, but it starts over there, and it rooted right here, and that's because it's starting to sprout offsets. Wait, no, that's not a poplar shoot. This, I don't know what that is. No, but it is starting to sprout offsets. So it's layering itself by doing this. This is all the same kind of poplar, but it's not the same individual. Is this an oak? Wait, no, it's a. This. It's a. What is? Oh, forgot. It's something in the cannabis family. It's I don't know. It's a tree hemp. I don't know. But I don't know. I have it on the tip of my tongue. I forgot. And then these bluer trees here. That's a salix. Well, I think it's a coyote willow. Yeah. All these blue trees over here. This is a coyote willow, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Unless I'm wrong. That looks like a willow. And those are the seed capsules. It kind of looks like willow bark. This looks like a willow shoot. It's just, I'm not familiar with this kind of willow. But why it looks like this is because it's native. It can grow in a dry environment, but it can also grow right next to the water. So this is why this is a very heavy protection from the hot and dry environments further away from the creek. And I gotta get out of here because there's a lot of ants. Ant nests. Looks like there's another mulberry tree right there. I really like this place. This is better than my expectations. And what I expected was that we would be at a trailer park or whatever, an RV camp, and there would be lawns that you can't pitch your tent on. And I was like saying like, if there are lawns, I'm going to pinch my tent on it, because I will valiantly protest against lawns. And even Colorado it's not a good place for a lawn. The towns that we've passed through are just covered. There's so much lawns, and it looks very ugly. There are so many golf courses, and it makes me feel It's a revolting sight. It makes me really, and then I'm just trying to comfort myself with just telling me it's because the town is poor. They don't know what to do. They're poor, and because they don't know what else they don't. It's succumbing to the wrath of society's standards. And society thinks that everyone should have a lawn, and that native gardens look ugly. And I'm very sure that there are some people who just, they came to live in a condo like complex because they can't afford anything else. But then they don't get a right to do whatever they want to their property, which they have the right to own fully. And that sucks even more. And the fact that condos, they all look the same. So I don't understand how people can live in a neighborhood where every single house looks the same. But, what is this? Some opposite leaf. It almost looks like a milkweed. It just has milkweed-like foliage. Does it bleed latex? It does. It bleeds latex. There's a big drop of it right here. Oh, it just dripped. So I think it is not a milkweed. I don't know what it is. This does not look like a milkweed to you. But it has very milkweed-like foliage. And their opposite leaf, I don't know, this one just happened to sprout 2 branches without a middle one. I am going to guess that this is an herbaceous perennial. This is not a tree. I don't know what it is, but I really like it. Yeah, I'm trying to focus. Okay, there we go. This. It's odorless. It doesn't have any fragrance to it, but whatever this is, I think this is a willow. Oh yeah, here. There's another one. What is this? I'm gonna turn on flash. Well, I can't turn on the flash yet. It's not dark. Okay, there we are. So here. Let's see. Alright. Now. Oppositely. Okay, so, I don't know what it is. I'm gonna guess it's a milkweed. Because when I damage it, it bleeds latex. And that's toxic. It will make you go blind if you get it in your eye. And now, all the seeds from the poplars. Yeah, this is an incredible rate of branch production. That's where this year's growth started, right here, where my thumb is. And this is how much it's grown. And I don't see an end in the growth at any time. But, something like this would be great for bonsai because it can miniaturize. The first leaves are quite small, and it has it looks cool, and it forms branches readily. So you might not even need to prune back to get branches. You might already have branches starting to grow and form that you can prune back to. Now there's an elm here. And elms, I don't know what kind of elm this is. It could be the invasive Siberian elm. But, all elms, they don't have a whorl arrangement. They have a alternate arrangement, which is one of the rarest kinds of leaf arrangements. Because only elms and like, I don't even think fringe flowers have alternate leaf arrangements. They might, but alternate leaf arrangements make it really difficult for most trees. It would make it difficult for most trees to have an alternate leaf arrangement because they would end up growing. They would never have a leader. It would just grow in this like cup-shaped, like cone-shaped. It would look like a, I don't know, like a something, like the thing you pour something into that funnels it, like a funnel. That's what it would look like. So they form these like fronds that are more than a year old. So what I'm holding right now is 2 years old, almost, and then coming off of it is this year's growth. This is cut back. There's no other reason why it would be an explosion of shoots. But if this is a native elm, it's Ulmus americana. Yeah. And Siberian elm is Ulmus pumila. Chinese elm is Ulmus chinensis, I think. No, parvifolia. But all elms have a very distinctive leaf venation. They're very, very textured, very easy, and a strange leaf arrangement. You never get a whorl formed leaf arrangement. Now, what happens when this is done growing, sheds its leaves, and the next spring, what happens then? Well, I think the shoots will, the leaves, yeah, you see here, so the leaves on this stem, they start just in a plane like this, and only like on the current growth, it all grows in a plane. But after a year, the new growth comes off kind of flattened, more level, and it the growth kind of rotates, and that's what allows this to not grow into a strange shape like a cone. At least that's my hypothesis. This looks like it's sticky. It's like hooked. It's like it has hooked inflorescences, whatever they are. But it has the leaves of a nightshade. I don't know. It's interesting. And hopefully, when I touched it, I didn't get like an irritating sensation. Hopefully I didn't have any urticating hairs. And then this looks like some kind of aster. Like it's a sunflower relative. It could be an annual that just grows kind of large, but I don't know how influenced it kind of looks like it's pygmied, like it's growing suppressed by the hard ground here, but the ground here is not very hard, where it is where the driveways are and stuff. But yeah, it doesn't have an aroma to it, so. But it's not in the Artemisia tribe, whatever that is, of Asteraceae. Some families, not all, but families that are large enough are split up so that they have tribes and subfamilies. But those two are different. The subfamilies are larger than tribes, but the tribes are larger than genuses. So it gets complicated for the unexperienced learner of botany, such as me, but I'm starting to get a hang of it. And there's something here that has very, like I don't know, it's like a strange plant. I don't know what it is. but I know for a fact the only reason why this has such thin foliage is because it's this can grow in dry riverbeds, I'm guessing, in like deserts, well, such as this. It's kind of is a semi-arid place, you know. You get the Utah junipers growing up there on the cliffs, and you know, in the riverbeds it still can be dry, so this has to hang on for as long as possible before it flowers and seeds. If this is an annual, which I think it is, it's kind of like disconnected slightly from the soil. Like it's kind of standing up on its roots like the Herb Robert does. But this is to help decrease the amount of surface area it has, so that it doesn't waste a bunch of energy like this, which grows right next to creeks. So here it is, further in progress. You can see the stem has interesting lines on it. I don't know what that is or what it means, but you know, it's really nice. It has contrast. It's very, very cool. I will take a picture of that. So you can see the inflorescence is starting to develop. Now I can see it's just starting to form right at the tip, but it's too early to tell. I don't know what it is. I can take a picture of it for later investigation. And hopefully, you know, I get some good suggestions. And here is a grass. And I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, it's in full flower. It's a grass, it's in full flower, and, or maybe it just passed, because I don't see any pollen on my hands. The stamens are falling off, and it kind of rattles a little bit. But, you know, this looks kind of related to some of the lawn grass, the invasive lawn grass shit, although this could be native. But, you know, I don't know. I'll take a picture of it. Yeah. So, I'll get more good pictures. Alright. But whatever it is, it's growing all over the place. So it likes the moisture. It likes wet feet. And either you have a clone popping up from one of the poplars, or it's another individual. But here, oh no, okay, so this is different from that, but I do think I think that's a willow, but this is different. It looks a little bit different. Okay, well, first of all, that is definitely a milkweed. I'm very familiar with milkweeds. There are some that have very, very thin leaves that are close together, for the same reason I explained earlier. And then there's stuff like this with very broad leaves that, you know, when you tear off a leaf, it's like clearly that like it's a milkweed. It's a weed that exudes latex upon damage, and ficus do that too, but they're they're completely unrelated. Okay, this is coyote willow. I don't know what that is, the weeping tree I was showing you earlier, but this here is definitely a willow, because just like the poplars, it has catkins that turn into seed, and then the seeds are fluffy, and I think most of the fuzz you see here is from this willow. But this specific willow has very, very thin leaves, for the same reason as that other tree. It has a high, it has like a texture to it. You know, you can see it's kind of hairy. And if I look, yeah, it has a bit of a fuzz. And that's for the same reason when in riverbeds, not like this, because this is flowing all year round. In drier riverbeds, this can tolerate it, and it needs to keep the leaves from transpiring too much. So the hairs keep the moisture inside the leaves for more. So it gives it otherwise it would dry out. It would starve. Here, among the equisetum or equisetum, you know, Latin is a dead language. But you know, I don't know how to pronounce it. So, you know, I don't know how old this equisetum is. That's cool. There is a grasshopper right here, and yes, it's a big grasshopper. Yeah, it looks nice. I don't know how many others. Oh, there's a whole bunch of them. They're everywhere, and they're different colors too. Look there. Grasshoppers. Oh, that's a great picture. But like, huh. So yeah, I don't know why that one's green. Whether I don't know if it's younger or not, but you know, it's really nice. And what's going on over there? I think. Oh, I think there's a kind of rush growing here, like this. It's not in the grass family, but it's in the grass order. Poales, but it's in the Juncaceae. Yeah, of rushes. And this grass, it doesn't have a flat blade like the Poaceae members, but it has like a round cylindrical leaves. They have like a mainly round cross section. However, I do feel I think it is a triangular leaf, but although that could mean that it's I don't know. No, it's not a sedge. It's not. It seems that there's another grass that goes even thicker, wider leaves. I don't know what that is. But this rush is going all over the place. And there's something here. I think that's what I was seeing earlier. There was gosh. You know, those sticky things I touched earlier. I think that's one of the last year's stalks from it. What is this? This looks like alfalfa. It's definitely alfalfa. It's in the bean family, Fabaceae. And I'm not focusing. Okay, now I am. So eventually these will show off a bunch of yellow flowers that I've been seeing lately. And they form on these long stalks that stick up. Yeah. I don't know if this is native or not, but more research is needed. Oh, for me to know at least. Here, okay, there's another thing in the sunflower family. This is slightly aromatic, which, you know, I'm not just doing it for like potions and, you know, medicinal properties, which really doesn't matter. But you know, if it smells, that was one way to identify a plant. Not just to encourage people to harvest it for there's a lot of it for medicine. Yeah, it's all over the place. All of this is this member of Asteraceae, and I can feel the oils. There's some slight stickiness to the plant. And now you see it's covered in trichomes and like an epicuticular wax, which makes it kind of blue. and ghostly look. Oh, I don't know, grayish, baby turquoise. Yeah. But you can see that a lot of asters like this have these kind of leaves. A lot of it, like dandelions, the prickly lettuce. Like there's so many asters that have that kind of leaf, and then they grow. These will eventually open up to a cluster of little florets. It's a very small bud. I don't know what it is. But I'll add that to my plant close-ups album in photos, and yeah, because that's what I like doing. It still has the like filaments from the seeds of the cottonwoods. It's just everywhere, and it might disrupt the accuracy of some of the series suggestions, which do actually work when you do it right. You gotta take a good picture. Like that, I guess. And sometimes you gotta get really close. That doesn't really look. No, but it's everywhere. This plant. There's pretty much nothing new. There's the grass that has the large leaves. It's not. I don't know. I don't think it's a ripgut. It's definitely not a ripgut grass. Whatever it is, it's a. I think it's a perennial. It's growing in a cluster, which means it's coming out of some rootstock. Like a rhizomatous, herbaceous, perennial grass, which I think giant reed also does the same thing. That really horrible invasive plant here. And then there's this, and this looks a lot like turf grass. Would it? No. Yeah, it does. Yeah, I think this is some kind of turf grass. Because turf grass, it looks just like that. It looks like this. I mean, you've seen it on your lawn that you should kill and replace it with natives. But anyway, this grass grows in lawns because it's part of the ingredients of a lawn. I think it's a rhizomatous grass. You can see it has a thick perennial stem. Roots. This is a monocot, but the roots, they don't grow. They don't get any bigger. This doesn't grow any secondary growth rings. It just continues growing longer and leggier. But this sand is always shifting, so it buries part of it, and yeah. But that, I'm gonna assume that this is turf grass, and it's invasive. It's a good thing. It's not doing so well here. But it's possible that this used to be a lawn. I have no idea. But it's also very possible that it just spread from seed. It feels better now. It's starting to cool down. There's more. Oh, wow. So you can see more. Oh, yes. You can see the opening flowers. You can see the phyllories starting to poke out. It looked kind of like an artichoke. But it's not an artichoke. It's not in the tribe of artichokes. I don't know. Or maybe it's a genus. But you can see, I don't know how full these actually get, how much they open, but that could be it. That could just be how much it opens. Or it could open into like a nice pretty kind of light purple little composite flower. What is growing over here? There's more of this stuff. I'm starting to think it's not a willow. No, wait, this is the different stuff. Oh, it's this stuff again. It's this, very, oh. No. I don't know. Maybe these are related. They could just be like different evolutionary traits. This is a perennial. You can see it has a big taproot. I think this is one of the asters we looked at. I don't know. What else there is? There's not much to show you. But you know, I think we're gonna end our video here because I have found something. Oh, and there's more poplar cones sprouting all over the place. But this, what is this? It looks like it's 4 petals. Lots of stamens. It could be a poppy. This doesn't look poppy-like. And I don't know. But this is why I'm gonna take a picture. Yeah, that's really nice. And I don't know how how it smells, but you know, I can't bend over because I'm gonna just fall over in a creek. You can see how much the sky is darkened. Now, you know, it's possible some of the lingering thunderstorms have not given up yet, and it's often sometimes the case for something like that. You know, I see precipitation there, I see the top of the cloud, but, you know, I haven't seen any lightning, so it's probably dissipating. But the moon is rising over there, and the sky is starting to go quiet. This is alfalfa. I often see the yellow kind, but it also grows white flowers. And you know, as it grows, as it already develops the inflorescence, it already has the flower stalks, you know, established, so that when it enters full bloom, you know, you get a huge stalk of these little inflorescences. And it's in the Fabaceae family. Because of the flowers. And it's causing a lot of brightness. But, you know, it has bean flowers. So that's all for today. Here, among the watch poplars,